Syrup? Yeah? Okay, bye. Nah.
Sweet. Welcome to Wareesha's world. Last time when I was 4, we went here, then I started Easter Bunny. Let's go. Again. You have face painting there. Ooh, mud. It's open in winters. Look at that. Here. Let's see it. We need 3 types of coffee.
How's it, Wareesha?
Sweet. Maple syrup is best. We're going to see the magician.
Okay. You can actually seriously double check that now. You can make sure that right there.
I have some really sad news to try. So you guys get to go back home and work. Wareesha.
Easier back then? No such luck. So, how this works? No. Back up a little bit there. Okay, thank you. That's good, thank you. Just don't want anybody getting hurt. By the way, even though this is a 200-year-old type tube, it still has teeth and it can still hurt. So bear that in mind, okay? Now, the idea here is that one person on one side, other person on the other side, and the motion here is pulling back and forth, like pull, pull, pull. And you should be moving a bit like a seesaw motion as you pull. So, first person wants to try. I know he had his hands up first there. Good. Okay.
You want to try
now,
after?
You want to try? You're next. Okay. All right. So the same idea. Just pull back, lift up a bit, and I pull. You pull, and I pull.
Can we do the
just like a
family
seesaw. Just like a seesaw. Yeah. Just like this. See? Just like a seesaw.
It's a lot more dangerous.
I pull one more time. Pull back. Beautiful. There we go. Right.
Thank you.
No.
During this time, they would
Right
see the opportunity
there.
to trade, and they would do so
Right
depending on
till
what they
here.
Now another form of making maple syrup was, instead of putting the sap into the pot and then onto the fire, they would put the sap into these hollowed out logs, and then they would put hot rocks onto the sap. This would have the same effect as putting the pot on top of the fire. And it looks something like this. Watch out, guys. Stand back. Stand back a little bit more. A little bit more. So, you see the steam that's coming out? Eventually, all that steam is going to be... Give me a second here. Okay, so eventually, the only thing that would be left would be the sugar at the bottom. Okay? All the water content of the sap would be gone because it was evaporated. Okay? This would take a very long time. I'm talking weeks because, well, you can just see how long would it take for these rocks to evaporate all that water, and for me to cool the rocks, heat them up again, bring them back, let them cool them, excuse me, just bring them back. Just do that process over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It take a long time. Another downside to this, it wasn't very clean. So the ashes from the rocks would get into the syrup, and the syrup would have these black parts to it, which was not good. Now, do you guys have any questions regarding anything of what I've just said? Awesome. That concludes my presentation about how the First Nations made maple syrup. Enjoy your stay at TerraCotta.
This is the modern day way of doing it. We can do this in 8 hours. So it's a lot quicker than doing hot soup. And the reason is because we're still using wood fire, but it's under here. And we're trapping all of that heat so we can boil quicker. With the Pioneer Station, your fire's out in the open, right? So the wind, rain, and everything can kind of mess with your fire. So here we can trap all of the heat inside, and then we can boil it faster. Yeah.
Why is like the two things here?
Of the two separate parts?
Yeah.
So we start by pumping all of our sap up there, and then it comes down the hose into the back. So on the back side of this pan, there's a float just to help keep the level from flowing. So this pan, the bigger pan, this is called a flute pan. So there's flutes on the bottom, and what they are is, if you looked at the bottom of the pan, instead of it being flat, it goes like this. So that helps the heat go in between all the cracks, and it heats up faster. So most of the boiling is done in here. So once it boils for a while in here, and it starts, you can start to see it change color a little bit. We pull this stopper, it goes through here to this side. So this is our finishing side of the evaporator. So this pan just has a flat bottom, so it doesn't boil as strong as this side, because you don't want to overcook it, right? So we keep boiling over here, and we keep our eye on this gauge right here. So if you guys that can see the gauge, there's a 0 on there, and the next big line is a 7. So this is a thermometer for the temperature. Syrup boils at 7 degrees more than water does. So the closer this needle gets to 7, the closer we are to having maple syrup that's finished. Okay? So once it gets close to that 7, we pour it off out of here. We filter it to get all the little gritty bits out that we don't want floating around in our syrup. We bring the bucket over here. And this is our final finishing pan. So this has got a propane burner underneath, just like a barbecue or a stove. We boil it in here to finish it off. We keep checking our sugar content. And as soon as it gets to 67% sugar, which is what maple syrup is, we turn the heat off, and then we can put it in bottles. So it's very important we hit that 67% sugar. If we boil it too much, and there's too much sugar in it, when you guys open your fridge and check the bottle, it's going to be crystallized. It's going to harden. If we don't boil it enough, it's going to be kind of runny and watery, and then it's going to mold over time. So you have about a 1% window that you need to hit to keep it good maple syrup.
These are all the syrup?
Honey, you can't love two. You can't love two.